My father may have been perhaps the last link in the chain of the Geonic and Delusion traditions. And a principal feature of this was a particular approach to the study of Gemara. And what I want to do in this class and in the next class is I want to describe to you what this approach was and what this approach is. I use the word approach loosely. Perhaps you can imagine with me going in a time machine and meeting the pupils of the great Athenian philosopher, Socrates. Let us say that in the room with us is Euclid of Megara, Phaedrus the Athenian, and perhaps Socrates the Younger. And we're talking with these philosophers, we're speaking to them about the various approaches, there I use that word again, the approaches to understanding the Socratic dialogues. The Socratic dialogues were written by Plato, but nevertheless, we're having this imagination. Or how about the apology of Socrates? And imagine their reaction when I tell them, or one of you tells them, there was the Polish approach to studying Socrates. There was a Lithuanian approach to studying Socrates. There was the French approach to studying Socrates. I think you would agree with me that it may be a painful imagination that we are undertaking, because they would look at us perhaps with disbelief and say, what are you talking about? We are the students of Socrates. We can tell you what Socrates was about and what his teachings were about, and we are in a unique position to do so. So I didn't mention the streaming of consciousness because I wanted to cause anybody discomfort, but I wanted to emphasize a point, and it's not a subtle point. The Geonim, we speak about the Geonic approach to studying the Talmud. Well, here's the thing. The Geonim were physically in the same buildings where the yeshivot of the Talmud were. They were in the buildings of Surah. They were in the buildings of Pumbedita. They lived in the same cities that the authors of the Talmud inhabited. They spoke the same language. They had the same semantic orientation. They had the same culture. They had the actual physical texts of the Talmud. They were the direct students of the authors of the Talmud. So how would they feel if we spoke to them about the different approaches of studying Talmud? They would be perhaps a bit incredulous, and they wouldn't take that seriously. So what I want to tell you today is I don't like the word approach. I don't like the word approach personally. And in this regard, I can tell you that the wisdom of the Geonim went directly to Andalusia, Spain. So when we speak about the Geonic approach or the Andalusian approach to studying Talmud, it's kind of like saying, this is the approach that students of Socrates took to the study of Socrates, but there's other approaches. So I know that sounds a bit harsh, but I'm just putting it out there because we are now looking to understand the Talmud. And I wanted to give you the proper context to understanding what I mean when I say the Geonic and Andalusian study of the Gemara. These were the direct Talmidim of the authors of the Gemara. So perhaps we should give this particular methodology a credence that it has not received until today. So if you look at the Jewish world and those of us who study Talmud, and God bless all of them, because I think it's wonderful that the Talmud study has become so pervasive and almost ubiquitous, but I think it's important also to return back to the Talmidim, the students of those who authored the Talmud, and see what they have to say about the Talmud. And I think if we do so, we may end up in a very good place. So